some of you are not going to like what I have to say, and that's okay. I don't need you to like what I have to say. I need you to listen. Black women in particular spend an estimated $7.5 billion annually on beauty products, shelling out 80% more on cosmetics and twice as much on skincare as their non-Black counterparts. This non-inclusivity that you see in makeup is simply an extension of the non-inclusivity that exists in our everyday life. But to have an ingredient list that matches word for word in the same order, this is the same formula that has been resold under the premise of Tarte Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation. Now it makes sense. Hello, if you've never seen me before, hi, my name is Youkeyy, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. A one, a two, a three, go. Welcome back to my channel. Yeah. Welcome to another edition of You Tried It, where Youkeyy, me, try. Like, you didn't know, hi, my name is Youkeyy, nice to meet you. Tries products for you, which is you guys. We are going to be testing out the Tarte Cosmetic, is right. I'm going to be testing out the Tarte Cosmetics Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. I had absolutely no intention of purchasing this foundation or even doing a You Tried It video on it. However, prior to the launch, I guess swatches came out and Twitter exploded with a lot of opinions. After getting several requests from some of you to try out this foundation, even though I knew and I even mentioned to some of you that I don't think they have my shade, I'm not gonna purchase it. I still went ahead and purchased it anyway. At the time of me purchasing the foundation, I didn't know of the details behind the Tarte brand's stance on their shade range. And I also didn't know of the tomfoolery that was happening on Instagram. I went ahead and purchased it on the 16th. I initially purchased the Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation because I have dry skin. I got the color Deep Honey. The foundation is $39. Shipping and handling was $6. Sales tax was $4.39. I live in California. And the total came out to be $49.39. So these foundations have a shelf life of 12 months and it has 1.01 fluid ounces or 30 mLs of product in the bottle. I purchased the foundation on Tuesday, January 16th, and I believe the foundation came out on Monday, which is the day before. I got the shade Deep Honey because I thought that it would be the shade that would be the closest to my skin tone, because obviously they don't have my shade. What I actually found to be really interesting at that time was that when I went on their website and I clicked on the Shape Tape Foundation color finder or foundation shade finder, there was nothing for me. I believe I chose like neutral tones and then I chose like cool tones or golden tones or something like that, and there was nothing. All they had were red undertoned everything for the darker end of the spectrum. I placed my order on January 16th, which is a Tuesday. I got a shipping notification on Tuesday, January 16th at 11:42 a.m. Once I got my tracking number, I went ahead and took a look at the transit time for the foundation. Come to realize that it wasn't going to be shipped to me until Friday, January 26th. By end of day. This video you're watching now will be going up on Saturday, January 20th or Sunday, January 21st. So by the time you're watching this, I probably still haven't gotten that order yet. So here's where things get interesting. Later on that Tuesday, there were several videos on YouTube talking about the foundation, and one of them I did watch, and the influencer went through the entire video not mentioning the shade range. In all honesty, as I watched that video, I wasn't upset at first. But later on, I did start getting upset simply because I felt like, man, not only does this company decide to only release 3 shades, but other people are doing videos about it and not really caring. I caught myself getting upset and I was like, wait a minute, why am I getting upset? I have a platform of my own. So instead of me to expect somebody else to speak on this issue, maybe I should be the one to take the responsibility upon myself to do so. Here's the thing, if you feel like something needs to be addressed, do not wait for somebody else to address it. Address it yourself. So that is what I did. I understand that people may feel as though it's not their place to, and I understand that some people are just naturally non-confrontational and they don't like addressing things that are deemed controversial. Regardless of that, this is real life. I am a Black woman. I'm an American, I'm a Nigerian, I am an African. Regardless of whether or not it is just makeup, it's about the message behind it. So I placed a second order that same Tuesday, January 16th, and this time I decided to purchase two of the Deep Honey foundations, one matte, one hydrating. Being that each foundation is priced at $39, I paid $78 for the two foundations. I actually decided to second day air it because I really wanted to get my video up as soon as I could. I went ahead and paid for the $14.95. Sales tax was $9.06, so I paid a total of $102.01. They were shipped out the next day, and I just got them yesterday, Friday, January 19th. It says that the matte formulation is a vegan and oil-free full coverage foundation with a creamy texture and modern matte finish to complement our cult favorite concealer. It provides the same full coverage as its concealing predecessor. It smooths over pores and imperfections with rich airbrush full coverage that dries to a flawless matte finish using a unique concealer-inspired wand. The formula absorbs oil and shine while leaving skin creaseless, hydrated, free of flakiness or cakiness, and helping to improve skin health with every application. Because this formula is so full coverage, you want to be sure you have just the right shade for your complexion. Okay. And then for the hydrating foundation, it says it is a hypoallergenic luminous finish gel foundation featuring the same iconic buildable full coverage as Shape Tape concealer with an added boost of skin smoothing oil-free hydration. It provides the same rich, creamy full coverage as Shape Tape concealer in a skin smoothing weightless gel. The collagen and hyaluronic acid packed formula continuously hydrates while helping to plump skin and refine pores without creasing, caking, or fading for 12 hours. So earlier on Twitter, someone mentioned that the Tarte Shape Tape Hydrating Formula has the same ingredients as the Tarte Hybrid Gel, and it's the same shade range with 15 shades. There are a lot of similarities, but whether or not it's the exact same formula, I don't really know. I will put up on the screen whatever it is that I find. So it was just shipped to me in regular packaging. It wasn't really as well protected as I thought it would be for a foundation. All it had was like one large bubble wrap, and that wasn't really enough to like get to the sides of the box. And these are glass. I do like that the hydrating formula is differentiated by the blue drop, as well as that blue line around the upper rim of the product. The foundation does feel luxurious in the hand. I have always admired Tarte for their product packaging. The hydrating on this side, matte on this side. I normally don't use a beauty blender for my foundations. I normally use a brush. The hydrating has like this weird smell. I don't really like it, but it goes away pretty quickly. And to me, this is definitely light coverage. I did not color correct, and a lot of my skin is definitely peeking through. I do have golden undertones, and I am not new to orange foundations because it's not the correct undertone for me. To be honest, over the years, I have learned to work with really orange foundations and make them look better on me. This one is obviously lighter. If you're gonna have two formulations for a foundation, I would assume that you would want to make each foundation shade the same in both formulas. Just gonna use the other side of my foundation brush to blend this out. Wow. The matte foundation definitely dries down faster than the hydrating side. That was with 2 dips into the bottle. I'm going to dip one more time. I still don't have the coverage that I really want on the matte side, or I could just be tripping and I do have the coverage, but it's just so freaking light that everything is showing through for me. I'm just setting underneath the eye with the RCMA No Color Powder. Usually I do wear concealer, but I don't want to cover up the foundation. Just setting the rest of the face with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Dark Deep. To me, the hydrating side has light coverage, and that's not what I'm going for, especially with a foundation that costs $39 for 1.01 fluid ounces. The time is now 2:53 on Saturday, January 20th. I'm gonna come back several hours from now. We're gonna see how each side held up. Before I do that, I do want to talk about a few things. Let's just hang out, right? I was disappointed, but I was not surprised. The main reason I say that is because looking at the brand's aesthetic, looking at their social media pages, it just screams, this is not for you. Granted, I actually do have Tarte products. I do commend the influencers that have spoken up about this, because a lot of times people are told that as a content creator, you speaking up about issues that are controversial or you challenging brands ruins your brand. How messed up is that? That in a world where we are constantly being told to question everything. Whenever you do question something, you are seen as someone who is ruffling feathers and who is being controversial. YouTube is my happy place. It's kind of a place where I come to just talk about things that I enjoy and things that I care about. And I have never publicly mentioned what it is that I'm about to say, and that is that it is very difficult for people of color to expand their reach on social media platforms. It could be due to the fact that in society it's ingrained in us from a very young age that to be lighter, to be Caucasian, to be non-colored, you are superior. You are more marketable. Whether or not you agree with me, that's your problem. I later on found out that the brand actually disabled comments under that Instagram post where they announced their foundation. The disabled comments, they did not address the foundation concern right away. Apparently, there was an interview done with one of their representatives with Pop Sugar, and this representative, I guess, mentioned that the reason they launched these particular shades is because in the winter people are more pale. Okay, yeah, this is my winter shade and this is my summer shade. And at this point, I do feel like it is for publicity. Do I think Tarte is going to lose money from this? Absolutely not. The stance that that shade range represents. There are people who stand behind that. There are people who share the sentiment of what that represents. And I know people are going to say it's just makeup, which, yeah, it is just makeup. But since it's just makeup and you're making it sound very easy, why not have a whole bunch of shades for a plethora of people if it's just makeup? Had this been a different foundation line, I don't really think people would have cared as much, simply because of the success that is associated with the Shape Tape name. That is why this is such an issue. I wasn't checking for a Shape Tape foundation. I don't know who else was like yearning and thirsting and parched for the Shape Tape foundation. We could have waited another year. No other company could have come out with a foundation called Shape Tape and gotten away with it. It wouldn't have happened. I also don't understand why they felt the need to put the apology in an Instagram story. If you're going to publicly not include a group of people, why not publicly apologize in a way that is not time restrictive? There are many unrecognized, underexposed people of color who are content creators, who have amazing high quality work, who have not gotten to certain marks they deserve because of their skin color. For example, I do want to touch on the whole Instagram thing. My thoughts are all over the place, you guys. I'm trying not to let that negativity sink in, because after a while, you see this kind of stuff, it becomes toxic. It really does. I think what many people fail to realize is how much buying power people of color have. I want to read an excerpt from Refinery 29. African Americans currently hold a buying power of $1 trillion. Black women in particular spend an estimated $7.5 billion annually on beauty products. As a person of color, you are already dealing with the day-to-day reality of being a person of color. Not only that, but then you go to your quote-unquote happy place, and when you want to purchase something, they don't have your color. I'm kind of tired of hearing the whole like, oh, but darker foundations are harder to make. Okay, fine. If my foundation shade is a burden to you, don't bother. Simple as that. I'll take my money elsewhere. Being that that is the reality of formulating a foundation shade for people of color, why not just wait until the entire line is ready and then launch a more inclusive shade range? Looking at Tarte's other foundations, I never once blinked at their foundations because I never correlated the brand with a foundation that's for me. I'm somebody who sees patterns. That's something I pick up on, I think, pretty well. And for a long time, I have noticed a pattern. And it's not something I made public because it's like, whenever you say stuff like this, people are like, oh, you're just bitter, or you're just making excuses. People shouldn't have to do certain things or shouldn't have to support you simply because of your color. No, they shouldn't have to, and I wouldn't want them to. But to say that there are not people of color who are incredibly talented and yet overlooked all the time because of their skin color, I'd be lying. I know for a fact there are many people who are very hardworking that will still get to that place of success, whatever it is that success means for them. But I definitely think whenever stuff like this happens, it's very disheartening for those people, because this non-inclusivity that you see in makeup is simply an extension of the non-inclusivity that exists in our everyday life. So I want to touch on a whole social media thing, because that's actually something that has bothered me for a while too. I went on the Tarte Cosmetics Instagram page and I kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, looking for someone who looked like me. The two people of color that they have on that page are people that work for Tarte. Let's just put it that way. I don't know what else to say. And this is to all brands. This is not just to Tarte. My point in me saying this is that if you want real people to purchase your products, it's time to start featuring real people who actually use your products and not people who work for you, and not always influencers who have follower counts in the millions. And you might say that, oh, that's just their aesthetic, blah blah blah. Oh, you want aesthetic? Okay, cool. It's not that hard to change the background of a photo. And I think also that is a testament to the social media success of companies like Anastasia Beverly Hills, because they post real people and they don't always post people whose followings are massive. Sometimes they'll post someone who has several thousand followers, several hundred even. So I went on the Tarte Cosmetics YouTube page and I see a comment that says, oh my gosh, finally a black tartlet. That's sad. That's really sad. And then I saw another comment. I'm not sure if it was from that same person, but I saw another comment that mentioned, oh, now all we need is a Hispanic tartlet. You can come to your own conclusions about that. That's really all I'm going to leave it as. Go on the Tarte website even, under the reviews for these foundations. And there are people who say, well, I don't care what anybody has to say about you guys. I still love your products. You guys didn't do anything wrong. And of course, why would you want them to be accountable? Because it doesn't affect you. That's the thing. A lot of people who this does not affect don't care, didn't bat an eye, nothing. However, I know that there are people out there who have been vocal about this. This generation definitely has the power to steer the beauty industry in a more inclusive, more accepting direction. With all that being said, I'm going to see you guys in a few hours. We'll wrap this whole thing up and we'll see how it goes. I slept, but now I am up. So it is currently 11:38. Although I prefer the matte formulation, I can definitely see spots on my face where it looks straight up caked up. Like, it's mainly around my eye. Also right down here, I can see almost like dry patches. Even though I have dry skin, after several hours, I start to kind of have that glow. However, this side is significantly less shiny than this side, which, I was expecting. Also with the hydrating side, I felt like I lost a little bit of coverage. You guys probably can't see it, but right there, you can definitely see that some clumping occurred. A few people have also mentioned like, oh, I have to mix foundation colors too. But why is it that because of someone's skin color, they have to spend twice as much on a product just to get a good or appropriate match? One person is paying $39 because their shade was there from the jump. Another person is having to pay $78 just so they can mix shades. What? I mentioned how someone on Twitter had said that the Tarte Hybrid Gel Foundation has the exact same ingredient list as the Tarte Shape Tape Hydrating Formula. When I made my two comparisons, on the Tarte website, I noticed that there was just like a switch up in the order of the ingredients, starting from like the fourth ingredient. Well, girl, I got on Twitter, but someone by the name of Kyle's Smiles, she at Temptalia, sorry if I'm saying that correctly, saying same foundation, hybrid gel and hydrating shape tape. And it had the product boxes for each of those products. Temptalia responded and said, this is really strange. I put the ingredient list in Excel for both from Tarte's site, and they seem to match one for one, including order. Reader has both physical boxes and says they feel the same. What's going on? Tarte responded and said, yeah, they have the same ingredients. We used our most hydrating formula as a base, but mixed, filled, and cured it through the proprietary manufacturing method we created for Shape Tape Concealer. The process gives it a different texture, application, and finish. That's like saying, hey, I cooked beans. The same recipe for beans that I've used before, but I just decided to cook it in a different pot. And I switched up how I stirred it. So this Kylie Conroy says, I have both and they look and feel the same. And she puts up a photo of the foundations next to each other. We wouldn't be able to see texture or see a difference in consistency via a photo. But this is one person saying she has Hybrid Gel Foundation and the Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation. And they look and feel the same. Both of the foundations literally have the same ingredients. We can always say, oh, but there might be a difference in how much of each ingredient was put in one formula versus the other formula. But to have an ingredient list that matches word for word in the same order, this is the same formula that has been resold under the premise of Tarte Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense because we were all wondering, why in the world would you invest time into creating two different formulations instead of focusing on one formulation first, creating a wide enough shade range, and then moving on to a different formula? We know why, because they repackaged their Hybrid Gel Foundation, which I'm assuming didn't really do well. They poured it into the Tarte Shape Tape Hydrating bottle and sold it to people. And looking on the Tarte website, the Hybrid Gel Foundation actually has a bit more deeper colors. It's not that they're working on new shades, and I was actually told that the shades are the exact same names. I'm assuming that they're doing that to create a sense of consistency in the product. So if you're one shade in one of their foundation lines, that same shade follows you through to another foundation line. You don't have to guess what shade you are. It's not that they're working on new colors. They're just going to release the hybrid gel colors that they already have and say, here, we made you some new colors. I haven't tried their hybrid gel foundation, so I don't know. Maybe they tweak a little bit of something in it to transform it from a gel foundation to, I guess, a more creamy one for the Tarte Shape Tape consistency. At this point, this is irritating. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Again, this goes to show what I was telling you guys earlier about the tomfoolery of this whole situation. So those 10 colors you're talking about, 5 for hydrating, 5 for matte. The 5 for hydrating already exist, and they're probably orange undertoned foundations. The way Tarte went about this whole thing was just so horribly bad. So there's a massive outcry about the foundation range, and you decide not to even make your own statement. You decide to talk to another entity, which is Pop Sugar. And then not only that, but you decide to then put up an apology, but you decide to put it up on Instagram stories. That disappears after 24 hours. There's no sense of actual accountability for what happened. I think what they're basically trying to say is, hopefully this will kind of dissipate on its own, and you guys will you'll forget about it. I personally don't have anything against Tarte, but I hope that they do better, and I hope that other companies do better, including companies that maybe do make colors and shades for people of color yet don't post them. Can Tarte still redeem themselves? Yeah, I think they can if they actually act as if they're taking responsibility for what happened, because as of right now, that doesn't seem to be the case. And another thing that I found interesting was looking through their Instagram page. They had recently, in the last few days, posted up, we want to send one of our tartlets to Hawaii with their mom or whatever, do this and this to enter the giveaway. So let's distract people from the reality of what's happened by offering them a vacation. That's cool. An apology in an Instagram story that disappears after 24 hours is not enough. I kind of felt like a drama channel right now, putting up screenshots, but I want you to have all the information. So if you're someone who was planning on purchasing this foundation, regardless of the shade range, regardless of what others have said, it is your choice. I just believe you should make an informed decision, especially if you're someone with dry skin and you're trying to get the hydrating foundation formula. Oh, girl, can we get back? Let's just get back to the fun, get back to the color, get back to the slay, because this is not it, okay? Whenever you see something wrong, whether it's online, whether it's in person. Don't just ignore it. I hope you enjoyed that edition of You Tried It. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also hit the bell to get all notifications so you'll never miss an upload from me. Be sure to also follow me on social media: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you guys once again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, Lord willing. Stay blessed. Bye.